What's up, guys? A good friend of mine has a YouTube channel. His name's Bill, Billy, whatever you want to call him. He's got a YouTube channel called Turbo Bill. He's with Bay Area Racing. And I want you guys to go check out his channel. I'm going to link it in the description below. He does a lot of stuff with neons and calibers and a lot of SRT4 stuff. He just got the, I think it's the mile-an-hour record for the big wheel stalker turbo. So, you know, he's putting down some records. He's putting in the time. He's putting in the work. He's got a lot of good information. A lot of good content on that channel, so I want you to go over there, check him out, and watch this video. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rusty Nuts Media. Sitting here with Project Gewch. We just got the 6266 turbo installed on this thing a few days ago. It's been sitting for a few days, so what I'm going to do today, I was kind of rushed at the very end of it just to get it cranked, let it idle for a little while and make sure everything fits together, everything works together. So everything is good. The only thing I'm doing today, my oil feed line runs kind of at an awkward angle. It's a little short for this setup. For the stock turbo, it was completely fine, but this setup's a little bit different. The oil feed line is actually sitting on the exhaust here, and then down here, it's actually really close to this belt down here. So I've got a union that I'm gonna put a little bit more line on. So I'm gonna run under the manifold and come up on the cold side and then hook it into the top of the turbo there. So I'm gonna reroute that. These lines for the, these wires for the O2 and the wideband, they're also really close to this exhaust pipe and the manifold right here. So I'm gonna lengthen the wires on those to run them up and around, also the same routing there. And then the oil drain for the turbo is actually a little short. I've got it pulled tight onto the oil pan right now. So I'm gonna make a different oil drain for it that's a little bit longer. So I cut it short to begin with just because I mismeasured the first time I was putting it on. But it was fine just to crank it and let it idle, as long as it didn't come off and I didn't lose oil or anything like that. So those are just a few things I'm doing to it today. And then after I change a few of those things around, get everything off the manifold and the exhaust, I'll crank it up, let it get up to temperature, make sure all the coating is good and everything like that. And then possibly go ahead and drive this thing up and down the road and back. And then park it, let it cool off, check all the manifold bolts, check all the V-band clamps, make sure everything's still tight. Give it a couple heat cycles just to make sure nothing's gonna loosen up. So today, I'm just double checking everything, cleaning up the install a little bit, making sure everything's safe, nothing's gonna catch on fire or burn through or anything like that. So that's what I'm getting to work on right now. All right, small update on where I'm at now. I went ahead and pulled half of the stuff off of here just to make it easier to work on. The oil drain line is done. I made a longer one and put it back on. So it is complete. The feed line has been routed along the cold side over here to stay away from all the hot side and the exhaust and all that, so it has been complete. So the drain and the feed are done. I'm about to stick the exhaust back on here. One wire has been lengthened for the wideband, so it can go on up here and stay away from all the hot side. And then the O2 sensor that's in the exhaust, I've got to lengthen it now, and that should be just about it. Now, the only other thing I'm worried about is the intercooler pipe. It sits up a little higher than it used to off the valve cover. As you can see, there's quite a gap there. So I might have to shorten it down just a little bit just to fit the hood on, because now that we have the exhaust routed where we're gonna keep it, we can go ahead and just cut out a section of the hood right here and get the hood pinned back on. So that's gonna be coming in the next few days. Hopefully I can get this done tonight and just take it down the road and back to test drive everything and make sure it's good. Like I said, get a couple heat cycles in it and make sure none of the bolts are backing out and make sure everything's still tight. So today is just double checking, triple checking, heat proofing everything. We're gonna put the turbo blanket back on. And then hopefully go for a little drive tonight. So give me just a few more minutes and hopefully I'll be done with this. Whew. All right, guys. As far as I can tell, everything's done. Everything's out of the way. The turbo blanket is on, which should also help us prevent some heat from getting to these wires and the vacuum lines and all that down in there. So that is gonna be this turbo install complete. So the only thing I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna crank it up, let it get up to temperature, do one more heat cycle. Then I'm gonna shut it down, and once it cools off, I'll check all the bolts and make sure they're all good. And then I'm gonna crank it up again and go for a little drive. So I'll get with you in just a minute when I'm ready to go for a drive. For a little drive. I'm not going to record while I'm driving for obvious reasons. I only have two hands. I want to keep this thing on the road. I'm going to see how it runs and drives, make a check on everything, the temperature, coolant, oil pressure, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to take a quick lap just down the road and back, and I'll get right back with you as soon as I get back. All right, we made it back. Car's still in one piece. The car did great. Coolant temp looked good, oil temp looked good, oil pressure looked good, everything drove fine. The car ran fine, so I got back. I'm letting it cool off now. There is a lot of smoke coming out of here still, and I noticed the wiring that runs right next to the manifold over here. I'm gonna have to lengthen it a little more and move it out of the way because it's actually melting the wire loom off of it right now. So I've got to get that even farther away than it is now. But other than that, that's the only thing that's still touching any of the hot pipes. So I've got to get that out of the way and make sure the wires are still good there. Make sure all the sensors are reading like they should, the wideband and the O2 and all that kind of stuff. Other than that, the car's ready to go. So as soon as I lengthen those wires and get them ran a little bit differently, this thing is ready for tuning. So what we'll do is we will take the slicks and the skinnies off. We'll put the street tires on it, all 4 street tires all the way around. And we're gonna start with just street tuning, just a little bit of rough street tuning out here on the streets of Mexico. Get out here, drive around for a little bit, do a log, do a couple revisions to that, just to make sure everything is good there before we go to the dyno. That way we don't waste all of our dyno time trying to just get it right first off. So we're gonna get a nice solid bass tune on it for this turbo, and then wait until we get to the dyno to turn it up and see what we can get it to max out at. So I think that's gonna do it for this video. So guys, thanks for watching. And of course, in the next video, we will be doing some street tuning out here on the street. We will end up going to the dyno, seeing how much power we can actually make. And then as soon as all that's good and everybody's schedules line up, we'll be getting to the track, hopefully before they close this year, to get a couple runs in there. So until next time, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks guys, bye.